Welcome back to the Personal Injury Show. Before the break, we were talking about transport accidents involving cyclists, and there's various facts which occur with cyclists. One very sad case was a cyclist who we think swerved to avoid a vehicle. This is early morning. He'd been drinking, racing downhill, and his body was found on a nature strip, and his bicycle was found against some rocks. And he said, when he woke up, I saw some lights behind me. Yep. And the Transport Accident Commission was a bit sceptical about all of that. They thought he'd just come off his bike without any car being involved, so he wasn't covered. And the case went to court, and the cyclist got up. Yes. Why? And no witnesses of the accident. He couldn't remember what happened. I think he had, again, catastrophic injuries.
Quadriplegic, yeah.
Quadriplegic. How could he prove what happened? He no memory. There was weak evidence, or some evidence about maybe a car was involved.
Yeah, it was a very complex case. The important part again was that the claim form had been lodged. So therefore, once the claim form is lodged, the process begins. Then the facts were gathered. The facts were.
And the first thing TAC has to decide, was he injured as a result of a transport accident?
Right. So
that is, a car has to be involved.
Correct.
So, okay.
So then they gather the police evidence, and then they gather the evidence from the witnesses who were neighbours nearby. One of the neighbours said he'd mowed the lawn the day before. There was marks on the nature strip of a vehicle tyre mark that was photographed a number of months later. There was evidence from another neighbour who looked out of her window and saw the particular person there. So
there was sort of circumstantial evidence that supported the claim.
Yes.
And then the courts got that person up.
Then they said it was a transport accident, but again, had the claim form not been lodged, that decision would
not have got off the ground.
No.
So I suppose he consulted lawyers, and they ran the case for him. But again, what is a transport accident? Another case not involving a cyclist was the car hitting the tree.
Yes.
It shattered the windscreen, glass fell on the ground.
Yes.
A neighbour came out. He wasn't wearing any shoes.
Correct.
He stood on the glass, and he was a diabetic. The glass caused some bleeding. Eventually he went to hospital. His toes were removed, and then subsequently there was further infection. His whole leg was removed.
Correct.
He saw a lawyer. The lawyer lodged a claim. This is a transport accident.
Yes.
What happened?
Again, was it an incident directly caused by the driving of a motor vehicle? The decision was, yes, it was a transport accident. The glass didn't just fall out of the sky. It was obviously directly caused by the transport accident, which involved a motor vehicle. The motor vehicle left the glass or the debris there. The person came out, cut their foot. It was accepted as a transport accident. That meant that person got their medical expenses paid, and all their entitlements continue.
So could have been loss of earnings or a lump sum impairment, things like that. But there was a gap between the accident, and I think that the two people in the car fled from the scene.
Yes, I don't remember that, but you're right.
Yeah, and they left. You'd think they'd been drinking or on drugs. They just abandoned the car, and I think the car might have been towed away. Yep. But he was a good Samaritan. He rang the police and was trying to help the police with their inquiries. Yep. So again, losing a leg in those circumstances was catastrophic for him. But as I say, the courts looked after him. It could have gone either way.
Yep. But
the courts looked after him, and he got no-fault benefits. At the moment, the no-fault benefits just for pain and suffering, they're indexed each year, around $200,000 maximum.
For the impairment, yes.
Impairment, pain and suffering. And then you've got loss of earnings up to about
$968, I think the figure is at the moment. That's recently been indexed on the 1st of July.
And then there's all your medical expenses are taken care of. But again, what is a transport accident? The woman who was getting off a bus,
Yep.
she slipped and fell on the steps, and she said to a court, it's a transport accident. The bus drove, it stopped, she got off,
Yep.
and she said transport accident. What happened in that case?
There's a couple of cases that they're quite complex. It's where the bus pulls up that can be described as part of the driving. If they pull up over a pothole, for example, and it's part of the driving that you pulled up inappropriately, that may be deemed to be a transport accident. But generally when it's a stationary vehicle, it's not a transport accident, it's what's called arising from the use of a vehicle. For example, people can fall down bus steps, they can trip over in a train or a bus on an inappropriate bit of guarding. All of those, or something that hasn't been properly maintained, they are what's called arising from the use claims.
So they're not a transport accident, but TAC
Indemnifies.
It was the insurer for the motor vehicle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Motor vehicle, train or tram.
So if you're hit by a tram,
Yes.
that's covered by TAC.
transport.
So there's a Richmond footballer, I think last year, hit by a tram
Yes.
late at night.
Yes.
And I think he's back playing football now. But he again, first thing he would have done was lodge a claim.
You would have thought that would have been dealt with at the hospital. A claim form would have been lodged.
Would have been lodged. So, and he suffered some head injuries.
Yes.
And he's made hopefully a reasonable recovery from those. But hit by a tram, hit by a train, or that's covered by transport accident.
Yes.
And then motor vehicles. What is a motor vehicle?
Well, that's.
I'm very disappointed that golf buggies are excluded from the legislation. Golf buggy is not a motor vehicle.
No. No, that's one of the.
If someone said if you grab a golf buggy and drive it down the road, you're not driving a motor vehicle.
No, but if you're hit by a motor vehicle, well, that might be a different story.
Yep.
But what's a motor vehicle? It's built or propelled by a motor.
Yep.
And it's used or intended to use on a highway. Now you say, what